What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's another tutorial in Photoshop, and we're going to be editing this photo. We're going to make it look more dramatic and more interesting. Right now it's actually looking more interesting, but we want to fix some kind of things. First of all, the skin texture and also the skin color variation and all of that. We're going to be doing some frequency separation and doing some eyes whitening just to get the photo to look the way it's supposed to look like. So if you're ready, stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you like the videos that we post, and make sure you're going to learn something from this one, please like the video and turn on the notification buttons to get notified whenever we post more videos. All right, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to try and match all, balance all the skin colors so they are one instead of looking different. So I'm going to use the hue and saturation for that. So let's go hue and saturation. Although I like using Capture One, it's actually interesting when you use two or more software in editing your photo, but this time I just want to do it in Photoshop. So I'm going to click on the N tool and I'm going to select the places that are green, like this place. So it says it's yellow. Let's see, yeah, red. Okay, let's see somewhere around here, yellow. Okay, so I guess it's yellow then. I'm going to increase the hue and see, just pick out that point on its own without actually having to mess around. Okay, so now I'm going to take it backwards and I'm going to try and balance it to make it look like the red, somewhere like this. So you can see before and after looking like the red. And I don't want to lose all this green color, but there's nothing we can do. I think we know we can actually fix that later on in the image. Okay, so we can mask it out and get it out of the way. So I'm just going to leave that on for the now and then click OK. So let's turn it on. Click on this one and then go to filter, select color range, and I'm going to click that side and it's going to select that. Hold down shift and select more of those places and you can see some greens and some. I'm going to decrease the fuzziness somewhere like that. Okay, let's increase it and click on OK. Now it's selected. I'm going to select this one and then I'm going to click create. Go to edit, fill with, and we're going to fill it with black. Yeah, fill it with black and then okay. Now it's filled with black and let's do Control deselect so you can see it's actually filling it with black. I guess some of the places I don't want it all around, so I'm going to click on that and change the foreground color to black and white, and I'm going to erase it with the brush tool. Let's get it out from most of the places. I'm painting with black, right? Yes, I need to paint with white, so like this. Let's look at the marks. Yeah, I think we're actually good with what we're doing. Decrease it and remove it from some certain places. So that looks okay for me. Alright, so next thing, we're going to adjust the red. Now again with the hue and saturation slider method, like I said, pick on the hand tool and click where it's red, this side, and it says red, and let's increase the hue and make sure only that part is actually selected. So take it to the front and it's actually going to select just the part we dream about. So somewhere here looks fine to me, before and after. So let's narrow it out, take it forward, narrow this out, take this forward, take this also forward, and take this forward, so we can drag it back a little bit, and this is what we have. So now, oh sorry for closing it, let's go back. I think it's the red, right? Yes. Now I'm gonna make it look like the orange, like yellow color. This red, no, so something like this looks fine to me. We can actually adjust to the rest later, and what we want to do, we can increase the lightness and decrease the saturation of that side. Okay, let's bring down the brightness back to 0 and decrease the saturation of it, and you can see how it affects the image the more. So now we have this one, and look at before and then the after. Alright, so now we're going to do some frequency separation. So hold down shift control and E to create a stem visible layer, Control J twice you know, frequency separation. I'm going to turn off the first layer, name this one color, enter, name this one texture, hit enter. All right, so that's color. For texture layer, go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we're going to blur it. And I think that's not enough. This should be looking fine. Let's take it back a little. Let's take it up a little. So that's okay. 3.8, click on it, and then turn this one on. Go to image, apply image, and then I'm going to make the color, the layer, and then subtract, and the rest in just okay. Change the blending mode to linear light, and select the two, group them together, open up the group. For the texture layer, we're going to use the clone stamp tool. For the color layer, we're going to use the mixer tool brush, which is this one, right? Yeah. So let's continue, open up, and then start to blend the colors together. And this shouldn't take you a lot of time. It's just blending the skin color together like this. I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to quickly do that, and when I want to do the texture, I'm going to play the video and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Alright, so I blend the skin tones. There's not much to do on the skin tones, okay? So I try blending everything I can, and you can take your time and do things right. Okay, so select the clone stamp tool, and this we're going to be holding Alt, and there's nothing, no blemishes to fix unless you want to just cover up all this, which is not going to actually make sense because it's just the way our skin looks like. And you can just select the texture layer and start fixing things. You can fix things and start just sample an area and then cover up all those blemishes, and you are good to go. Okay, you can on the align tool, but I don't like using this align tool right here. So I'm going to select, and then I'm going to just click on different places, and most especially that is where we need to fix. You see that line, this line up here, just fix it. I don't want that. So something like that. Nobody wants to see that. Okay, so I'm just fixing things up, making things look tidy, and it's very hard for you to notice that, but we can still see some lines. And for this one, you can still see some lines. Okay, so that looks good to me. And we can zoom in and then do this side as well. Okay, and click this one. Okay, is there anywhere left out? Nowhere. So I guess we're good to go. All right, so I'm going to zoom in right here and then just replace few steps on it. Okay, so also our cheek and the line right here, just going to replace that, and this one's right here. I'm just going to leave that alone, which yeah, so we are good. Now I want to do something. Let's create a stamp visible layer first of all, and now I want to fix this lightning, right? Just like it's not just what I want. Okay, so let's create a hue and adjustment layer for that. Let's see if we can solve it with that. I'm going to right click on that and see if that's where it's actually selected, and move the slider, but we all know it's not going to happen. Okay, so let's use another method for that, and that method would be exposure. Yeah, so let's bring down the exposure of those places. Let's try the gamma one. Like I said, this is a live video, so let's try the gamma. That didn't solve the problem either. We can use the brightness, then delete. Let's create brightness adjustment layer, and on the brightness adjustment, let's decrease the brightness. Okay, so I guess this actually solving the image, the photo. Okay, so now we can actually choose color range. Let's turn it off and let's choose color range. So select color range, and I'm going to pick the end, and you see those places are selected. Let's increase the fuzziness, or what is it called, and then click OK, and it creates a max automatically. You can see, so we can decrease the brightness of that. It's just to add to detect. So before, but it's actually making sense if just leave it like that. So I'm gonna leave it like that then. I actually don't like the way it's looking before, but if at all I want to change things, I can use the brightness, yes, and bring it down, and then I can mask it out with the blending mode. Let's go to the blending mode, and I'm going to remove it from the darker side. So double click to open up the blending mode, and let's remove it from the darker side, make it appear on the white side. So something like that. Bring it up a little, hold down Alt and split it out like this. Okay, so we can hit OK on the keyboard, and you can see the before and after. So I want more highlights on the nose, but it's actually looking okay to me than before. So I'm gonna delete it, I don't need it. Go to filter now, camera raw filter. Now under the camera raw filter, I'm going to the highlight. Yeah, we know the highlight, decreasing the highlight, yes, and the white too. I just want to get a dramatic look. Let's increase the dark and the shadows just a bit. Okay, so that's that. We can go to the texture, increase the texture, make it look more sharper. Yeah, okay, so now close the basic tab and go to the curves. Let's create an X curve like this and like this. Imagine how it's looking right now. So go to the color mixer. I'm going to saturate the green so much like that, and the blues so much, and blues so much. Okay, so I understand that the eyes is in white. We're going to solve that in a minute. Let's decrease the red, if actually there's any red. Okay, there's red in our lips, so I want that red. Yes, I want the red to come out the more. And the oranges, we can actually, you can turn it down and bring it up, but let's make it look more dramatic by bringing it up. And this place is actually not saturated just because it's actually whiter, and if we bring it back, it looks like this with that color, but it looks interesting with the yellow. So I'm gonna bring up the yellows and just the blues. Let's leave the red since we're going to use color calibration later. And the hue, yeah, the hue. So let's make the orange look more like the yellows, or let's make it look more like the red, if that's actually okay. But this is too reddish. I'm going to leave it in this, like -1. And the yellow, make it look more like the yellow. The blues, make it look like the blues, and this one, take it backwards. All right, so that's that for the color mixer, and you can turn it off and on, so you won't see the real change. This is where things get a little bit interesting. So the blues, yeah, she's fair skin. Take it up, take the blues backwards, and you can see how it add more saturation to it. Let's take it forward and take this one backward a bit. I'm going to take the greens forward towards the red, and I don't want actually the red color, so that's, I think that's actually too much. So let's take the greens backwards to the other side, and some places are just too saturated. So let's see where it's actually looking like the yellows and the blues. Okay, so we can actually fix a lot of things. Let's just see before and then after, just a little more of others. Let's go back to the color mixer and saturation of the greens. I'm going to make it more saturated, so something like that, and I'm going to hit OK on the keyboard, and Photoshop is going to replace that with me. Okay, so now some places are actually saturated. Go to the adjustment area, click on hue and adjustment, take on this and select the place that is actually saturated, somewhere like this place which is saturated, and we're going to decrease the saturation just like that. Looks amazing, right? Yes. No, that's not all. We need to make the eyes white, so create a color photo filter, adjustment layer, and make this one blue, and we have this one. and then again create the black and white just the way we normally do it. Black and white adjustment layer, and I want to make the image, the eyes white. So group the two together. I'm going to click on this one and decrease the opacity to 50 or 40 something, and then select the two and group it together. Now on the group, create a mask, invert the mask. Now that's inverted, let's select the brush tool, make this one black, foreground color black and white, yes, make it white, and I'm going to paint on this and paint on this just to remove that saturation from the highs, so we can see before then the after. Okay, it's actually looking more whitish. Go down X and remove it from the side. I don't want to see it there. Okay, yeah, so something like that looks fine to me. Okay, so now I guess we lost the red, and we can actually bring that back. So go to saturation, you're in saturation, just click on the red and make the red saturated backwards like that, and I'm good. So we can see our okay, so now we're gonna go to the color balance and make this one, I like though I'm not gonna start with this. Let's just reset this one to 0, and let's start with the black, the shadows. So just impute some blues to it and some cyan. Like I said, I want to make it look dramatic, right? Yes, so this one, and that's awesome. Okay, so we can actually add more blues to this, and more cyan, and more cyan. And the highlights, I'm just gonna do a little bit of the opposite, so that let's add some red, and that's for the final color grading, and it looks like this. Okay, so if there's any other thing you want to correct, we can add some vibrance. I don't think there's more to what we want to do, so adding some vibrance, just a little bit of the vibrance, and this is what we have. Okay, so some places are actually not looking okay, but I just like the way it looks. So we can do create a stem visible layer, Control Shift over and E. I'm going to hold down Shift and then click to the last one and group it together. Sorry, let's group it together. What am I pressing? Group it together, turn it off, and let's see before and then after. You can see the changes. Alright, so on this white part, I feel like we need to do something about it, which is the exposure. So now I'm going to go to the hue and saturation, and this time around just select that part. I don't understand. Okay, so we can increase the saturation and nothing happens. You can just see that it's not actually affecting it. I'm actually going to make it 0, and let's try to change the hue. Nothing. Let's change the brightness, and nothing at all. So that problem is from the image. I'm going to get rid of that and delete, so we can actually see what we did. So from, let's delete that, come on, delete, yes, so we can see before and then after, before and then after. Looks amazing, right? Yes, looks amazing. Okay, so if you like the video, kindly hit the like button. If you're new to the channel and you learn 1 or 2 things, kindly subscribe to the channel. See you in our next video. Thank you once again. This is ASAS.